Yeah, you go. Call them glitches or errors if you want, but the machines are taking races from Democrats too. I needed to look at this one. So this one's, I haven't watched this. It's pretty short. It's only a couple minutes long. But apparently, the fact that his weird algorithm shit doesn't work is not indicative of, is not indicative of the, there we go. Glue this up a little bit. That the election was free and fair. It's indicative of that everybody's getting cheated. And again, this is a pretty good shot of Mike Lindell and how his thought process works, and the contempt that Brandon House has on him. If you're not familiar, this is Brandon House. He's the guy who bilked Mike Pillow out of millions of dollars to start Frank Speech and Lindell TV, which are the same fucking thing. But he's somehow convinced Mike Lindell that they're different. It's so weird. And then Brandon's got this nice, sweet studio with big monitors and his little brick and everything. And Mike Pillow, who runs the fucking thing, is sitting in a an old-fashioned phone booth that passes for the business center in a bed and breakfast outside of Fargo. I don't know where the fuck he is, but instead of thinking, oh, Democrats lost and some, and Republicans lost some, and it was just America's just kind of split over this stuff, and that's how democracy works. He's like, no, if you lost, you were cheated. If you won, it's legit, unless you're a Democrat. If you're a Democrat and you won, you cheated. If you're a Republican and you lost, you were cheated. If you're a Republican and you won fair and square. And if you're a Democrat who lost, you either lost fair and square and or you were also cheated. I don't know what the fuck his point will be. Let's find out.
Now I ask you, everybody, you horrible
ask me
journalists out there.
Oh, he's talking right to me. By the way, I'll have you know, I went to the website today and I sent in a formal request to interview Mike. I did. It's like, I don't know that he'll. Karen Bass won. Right on. She's why I didn't continue my race for mayor, and I'm glad, because I would have probably, I would have been a little bit of a spoiler to about half a percentage point, and that would have been enough, and that's not good. All right, yes, I did. I totally did. There's just to show you what I'm talking about, if you click right here, there's this thing, and then you go to About Frank, and then you go down to Contact Us, and I did exactly that. And I wrote them an email, and hopefully we'll hear back. Who knows? Fingers crossed. Let's see. I think I will. I think they'll tell me to fuck off, but I mean, I would love to do it, and I might insist that he does it from the little wooden steampunk phone booth. They're calling the leadership of the House for the weasels right now. Don't care. They still got 10 races outlier, and they assume they're going to win, and then they're going to lose somebody before January. It's going to be fucking hilarious. Don't care.
That are writing your articles, so you're getting ready to write this down. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to those states. We're going to get it from all 50 states, and we're going to show machine problems on the front end. But you journalists are okay with that. I wonder if your paychecks, if a bank did it.
Also, who are you yelling at? Honest to God, simmer the fuck down. Like, he is so pissed.
That way and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's a bank error. You only get 200." Oh,
he's saying, would you be? I think this has to do with an argument he was making earlier that some Republicans lost because they took a zero off their number of votes. Like they had 41,000 and then they got 4,100. They just erased tens of thousands of people. They just poof.
$100 this week. I'm sorry, it was 2,000. No, it's too bad. We're not going to look into it because you can't look inside our software. You can't look in our machines.
Okay. Hi, dummy. Banks don't work that way. You have whoever gave you the check that you put in there. You can check the money that you put in, when you put it in. A lot of times you got a receipt. You can check that receipt against it. It matches up, and they tell you to go fuck yourself. You actually spent your money. Or they tried to steal your money, and then you have a lawsuit and you'll get double your money.
You journalists make too much money anyway. Why would you get to look at this? Shame on you. Are you kidding? We're not going to open up our bank and let you look at this. I'm sorry it's missing a zero.
Yeah, that's what it is. They just eliminated it, like, they didn't try to like finagle a couple here and there or squeak by. They just wiped out tens of thousands of voters. Just that's it.
This is where we're at. This is computer.
This is where we are.
Errors, people. If it was just computer errors, you wouldn't want the machine. And if you did have the machines, you would certainly say, let's open them up and see if they're correct.
No, you wouldn't. You would actually ask the voters. You could do it, statistically amongst a group of people if you canvassed legally, and then you could also look at the ballots that you physically got, and nowhere in any of these recounts are they off by more than a couple of dozen most of the time in these recounts. In the few times during the presidential election where they counted, Biden got more votes. And by the way, that's how it's going to work out in some of these close races. The Republicans are tossing out ballots without curing them in a bunch of these areas. And when they go back and do a recount, part of what they add is, well, we're going to cure these ballots. Democrats are going to go, okay, this matters, so we're going to make fucking phone calls and make sure people's votes count, where they may not have before. And you're going to see a couple, if not one of these Republican seats, at the very least, you're going to see it flip back to the Democrat because Republican judges were throwing out, they were like, I don't like that one. That doesn't look real. That one doesn't look real. That one doesn't look real. And whoever the Democrat was like, all right, well, that seems all right, I guess. And they're letting it slide because they figure they're going to win or it's going to be close and it's not that big a deal. But they don't realize they're doing it on 3 stations at the same time. And then when they go back, they go, you toss that out. That matches. Fuck's wrong with you? And when it's a squeaker where there's like 100 votes or 1,000 votes even in a lot of these cases, there's enough of those because of what the Republicans are doing to change the outcome. The insides of the fucking, and again, if everything was ranked choice and he didn't understand the, you pick your primary choice, your second choice, and your third choice. Everybody else picks their primary choice and their secondary choice and their third choice. But there were more people who picked this person as their second choice, which gives them a boost into the ones than just the one, because most people were like, they pick from 4 other candidates, but they always pick this person. That person would be moved up into the one category where they would duel it out as a 1-to-1 vote getter. Because even as if you got 50% of the place, everybody gave one choice. They picked this one person as their primary choice. But all the other candidates, the other 50%, everybody as their second choice, and some of the second choice was this other person. The second choice for the first person was there, and the second choice for everybody else, or a big swath of them, was enough to bring them up to the same number of votes. Then that makes it a situation where they might have a runoff or they calculate it. If you don't understand how that's run, it's understandable because it changes based on how many people are running, who's a viable candidate, which like third-party candidates versus first-party candidates, that kind of shit. At this point, that has nothing to do with what's going on here. This is just people voted on paper. They had a machine that didn't like vote on a machine that made the piece of paper that punched out something they couldn't read. It punches out a piece of paper and they can look at it and it says, you voted for this, this, and this. Is that how you want to vote? And you go, yes. Put it in an envelope and it either goes in the tabulator or it goes in a drawer. It goes in one of the slots. And it's counted. And a lot of people get a text that says your vote's been counted. I did. In a bunch of these states. So his read on this is really fucked up to start with.
What is so wrong with that, America?
Well, I'll tell you what. Proprietary voting software. If you can open up the machines and see it, which is, I don't know what the fuck. It's like he wants to cut open his pets and see what life looks like. I want to see how where's the cuddly? If I cut open my dog, is it cuddly? Where's the cuddly part? Well, you killed your dog and it's no longer cuddly anymore. Oh. if you have a situation where you're looking at the software and all that kind of stuff, so do all of the country's enemies. It has to be secret and proprietary to keep it from being hacked. That's why it needs to be updated all the fucking time. Yeah, this is his real temper. He's a dick.
Particularly
What
when
is so wrong with that?
I just explained it. Why can't you hear me?
Don't get it.
We know you don't get it. But maybe someday you'll meet a nice girl and all that'll change.
Instead, we sue people. We let these companies like Smartmatic intimidate people and sue
Smartmatic. They're used in like LA County in one area.
people and Dominion and ES&S, all these machine companies. What do you all love them, you journalists out there? How would you like it if a bank took a zero off your paycheck?
Well, the bank can't take a zero off my paycheck because they don't issue my paycheck. I guess unless you work for the bank, in which case I would go to the labor board or file a civil suit. Where do you think the zero went, fuckhead?
Oh,
particularly Mike when
Us, it's just fucking discuss, as you know.
when it's all being paid for, or at least I would think the bulk of it is being paid for by tax-paying dollars.
It's all being paid for us. Those are our machines, and we demand to look inside and get rid of them. Melt them down and use them for prison bars, like I said.
Yeah, you don't get to override the rest of the tax-paying public who would like to vote by machine because it's efficient and we're a big fucking country. Oh, sorry, some rich former crack addict with a pillow company got mad at how we were spending your tax dollars, so we boiled all the bridges and turned them into cages.
I mean, I'm sorry. If the whole world's seen all these problems, let's just call them programming errors.
Glitch.
Nobody's even talking about internet or anything. We're not even talking about that part
Because it isn't a part.
of that crime. We're talking
Because it's not a crime.
about these guys. You just brought up all those examples of Democrats say they're told they won, and they go, sorry, you lost. We found some votes here in the machine. It was a glitch. It was an error.
Really? That's the end of their clip. They cut Mike off at that point. Yeah, why can't you look inside a nuclear missile, Sarpis? You paid for them. That's right. These are your tax dollars. Your tax dollars pay for spies all over the world to keep you safe from terrorism and countries stealing intellectual property that could form weapons and stuff like that. Why can't we see their addresses on the internet? We pay for it! What a dipshit. So I wanted to jump into that real quick because I guess this is a part of like everything we see where I'm going to scroll back down. Yeah, here he is again. Call them glitches or errors if we want. We need audits immediately and to get rid of the machines. Like he's just fucking livid. Democrat in Idaho told they'd lost race after yet another machine glitch. In Idaho. Let's see it. I'm curious. That's what he was referring to, by the way.
Idaho House seat goes to Republican after glitch reported.
Tabulation glitch.
Wait a minute. There's not. Idaho sued me and said there's no problem with machines in Idaho. This can't be true, Brandon.
Yeah,
Well, there wasn't because they had a glitch and they discovered it.
other
Come
one
on
here.
now.
This other one was in Michigan. Okay, so I just wanted to double check we weren't talking about the same one.
By the way, when is this? 2020? Jesus Christ. They're just going in multiple years.
It's not. That was in Michigan. Now this one's in Idaho. What initially appeared to be a Democratic win in the Idaho House turned into a Republican victory after a glitch reporting early voting was corrected in south central Idaho, a state official said Thursday.
The change gave them the win by 83 votes. What initially appeared to be a Democratic win in the Idaho House, it's a fucking House race, local. Notice how he scrolls down so we can't see the fucking date on
Chief
it.
Deputy
Wow.
Secretary of State
Wow.
Chad Hoke said the House seat representing Jerome, Blaine, and Lincoln counties went to Republican Jack Nelson, not Democrat Karma Metzler Fitzgerald, after more than 700 votes were added to the count on the state website late Thursday morning. Wait a minute. I think
Well,
they
there
sent
it
you a
is,
bill
you
for
guys.
$6,000 they wanted you to pay out
They
of
sent
Idaho.
me a bill for $6,000, crooked Idaho. You know, not the people of Idaho. They're great people. I've been there many times. It's these people running their government in Idaho. It's just
You mean the Republicans?
disgusting.
You mean all the Republicans that run Idaho?
There's no crime in Idaho. There's no machines. We checked it out. We were only off by 9 votes, not 56, Mike. Oh, you're only off by 9 out of 500. And I said 56. I'm sorry. I didn't include the other 2 days. You know what? So at 5% fail.
This is... can you imagine? Like, it's one thing for most of us, who are Democrats, speaking for the majority of my crowd, where, like, this asshole yells about our elections. Can you imagine being on all fronts, being on this guy's side? Like, the Idaho state government and all those folks are straight up Trumpies. They couldn't be more on Mike Lindell's side. And he's up there fucking haranguing them over 9 votes. And like, fuck you, Idaho. You think you can I'm sorry. It was 56 votes, not 9. Can you imagine how you must feel when this prick calls? Right? Like, you and I, if this dickhead, like, was yelling in our ear about something, we'd think it was hilarious. But these assholes actually think this is a rich dude who's on our side. He's got our back.
Rate is okay.
Yeah, it was a glitch transferring early vote from totals from county to state, had nothing to do with tabulation machines. Yeah, it was reporting. There's a bunch of those too, where they like report on CNN and like they reported a bunch of votes and then they went away and then they came back like, yeah, because somebody on the phone said 10 instead of 10,000 instead of like somebody says 1,000 because of where they're from for 1,000, right? And so they're like, this is confusing. I don't know.
Hey, Idaho, it's okay that you tell a Democrat that they won, and now you just took it from them and say they lost because it was a machine glitch. I hope you journalists are watching this.
They're not. They're not. I'm barely watching this. I think this is ridiculous. Like, I mean, there are some journalists who are like on the Mike Pillow beat, just watching all of this shit in case he finally just snaps and says, I'm going to kill somebody, I'm going to burn every Hardee's to the ground in this fucking country. Like, they're waiting for him to actually say something sort of provocative and even interesting.
If I see one thing printed, you guys can lose my number. If you're going to say that it was all, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. This is the Uniparty, CCP, that has attacked our country.
So China is stealing Idaho by giving it to Republicans in batches of 76. My question is, how did they sneak the pandas into the printing factory, into the printing press? And do they pleasure themselves, or does somebody there have to do it?
We have to save our country. This isn't a joke that you journalists can write about. Michael
Kind of is.
comes up with a new one. He's not happy with the midterm. I'm not happy that Brandon just showed 3. Now we have 4 different examples of Democrats saying are winning, but they go, nope, you lost.
And by the way, over the years, so fucking what? Local races and primaries, and they're like, yeah, you thought you were ahead, but it turns out there were a bunch of votes that just came in, you lost. Oh, womp womp. And?
Or they lost, and then they say, oh, you did win. It's machines, everybody.
No, it isn't. It's numbers of votes, you fucking lunatic.
Just because we have way more examples of Republicans cheating, that they cheated Republicans, it doesn't matter. It's the Uniparty. Globalists.
And Mike,
CCP.
even if
Globalist CCP, it's the Chinese Jews that are running the whole thing.
let's just say, for the sake of argument, even if there's nothing nefarious going on,
There isn't. By the way, and you're never going to convince him of that. Of course there's something nefarious going on. You think the CCP means well? They gave COVID to our voting machines. You got to melt them down and turn them into ventilators.
Right.
Wouldn't the average American say, look, we're not going to pass judgment as to why this is happening, but clearly it's happening, therefore we should all agree to go to paper?
Okay, first of all, they are using paper in all of those areas. In 2020 and in this year. Everywhere, everyone they're talking about, the reason they found those other votes is because they were on fucking paper. You fucking tool. Secondly, 4 cases in a, do you know how many fucking voting machines there have to be to carry out an election in a country with 180 million registered voters who may or may not decide on the day or some day before to fucking vote? Do you have any idea how many, like, big cities? It's like, try to imagine for a second all the toilets in a 6-mile area of your house. And remember that they flush 2 to 3 times a day if you're healthy. And all over the place, right? Your neighbor's house and that next house and the next house and the next house and the next house and the next house. And then you start getting a picture of, like, Jesus Christ, our country uses a lot of water. The same thing is true of fucking voting machines. Yeah, look at Mike. He hates Brandon right now.
100%. That's what I've been saying. It's like, okay, now more than ever, the whole world seen these machines screw up on the front end. And it wasn't just in Arizona.
They just cut them off in the middle. I don't know who cut these clips, but I love you and I want to have your babies because I love the fact that you're just interrupting him mid fume. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin removes all mentions of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Is that because it removes one book and they only had one book and that book got removed because of the nature of that book? We'll see. Again, I won't hold my breath on those kind of things. We'll wait and see. Hopefully, again, let them get ahead in their hubris. It won't, in a lot of ways, you can't remove elements of the curriculum anymore like you could book burn back in the 60s or something because of the wonderful thing called the internet. And kids tend to get pissed when you've hidden large chunks of history from them in their teens. I know from experience. You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm on 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. approximately. Sometimes I stick around. And then on Thursdays, I start an hour later, like tomorrow, because I have family FaceTime. So our family gets together on FaceTime, and I started doing that at that time before the show existed, so I'm keeping it, and that's just life, and we just move on. Mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do the morning show, and then on Saturday, the House Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, and I live stream it as well right here and on all your favorite social media outlets until they are wiped off the face of the earth.